The House Oversight Committee is now seeking answers from one of the correctional officers who's believed to be the last person to see convicted sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein alive. Republican Chairman James Comer says the committee has requested former Metropolitan Correctional Center officer Tova Noel to appear before a closed-door interview on March 26th. Noel was one of the two officers accused of falsifying records from the fateful night before Jeffrey Epstein died. Those criminal charges were later dropped, and Noel was fired from her position. But lawmakers now appear determined to revisit what happened on that night, including questions about the surveillance video and required inmate checks. Joining us now is Democratic Congressman James Walkinshaw. He's a member of the House Oversight Committee and the Homeland Security Committee. Congressman, what exactly do lawmakers believe that they will elicit from this former prison guard years after the death of Jeffrey Epstein?
Well, I don't think we know what we'll elicit. I think we know some of the questions that we want to ask. And, additional information has come to light about Ms. Noel since the 2023 Inspector General report was completed. Just to give one example, she received a $5,000 payment. She deposited $5,000 in cash just days before Epstein was found dead. She received a series of payments before that. The Miami Herald has sources saying that Epstein was paying protection payments to prison guards there. So, I have a lot of questions about that. Obviously, there's been renewed interest in the video with the orange figure moving through. I think we want to get answers to those questions. I don't know what the answers will be, but those are some of the questions that I have.
Congressman, it's great to see you again. Is there a way to carry out this investigation without ultimately speaking to Attorney General at the time, Bill Barr, who did not do what you and other members of Congress are trying to do now, which is get to the bottom of what exactly happened to Jeffrey Epstein in prison? I know that the former Florida Attorney General, Pam Bondi, the current Attorney General, is set to testify. But how does this investigation proceed without speaking to Bill Barr in all of this?
So the committee did receive responses from Bill Barr last year. I think your point is a good one. After this conversation with Ms. Noel and others, we might have additional questions for former Attorney General Barr related to the investigation of Epstein's death.
I know Comer is still working to schedule an interview with Howard Lutnick, but I'd love to get a sense of what your strategy, what your colleagues' strategies are going to be if you are able to get him in front of you. What do you want to know from Lutnick at this stage?
Well, here's what we know about Howard Lutnick already. He lied to the American people. He lied to his boss, Donald Trump. He lied about the extent of his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein in a very fundamental way. He said he had never been to the island, and then we learned he did go to the island. So I want to understand, why did he lie? And is he lying about anything else? And, we hear this phrase thrown around a lot. Lutnick and others haven't been accused of any wrongdoing. From my perspective, if you're a cabinet secretary, or anyone for that matter, lying to the American public is wrongdoing. He should have been fired when that was revealed. But I want to find out if he's lying about anything else, and why did he lie about that?
Congressman, Politico has reported that Jeffrey Epstein's longtime girlfriend, Ghislaine Maxwell's lawyer, on Friday acknowledged that his client, Ghislaine Maxwell, again, Jeffrey Epstein's former girlfriend, is continuing to seek a pardon from Donald Trump in the wake of the release of the Epstein files. Given that information, not that it's super surprising, but does it complicate in any way your ability to get testimony from her?
Well, we deposed Ghislaine Maxwell, and she pled the fifth. She used the opportunity of our deposition to have her attorney, same attorney, I believe, who's quoted there by Politico. He used that opportunity to make the case for President Trump to pardon her. And the attorney and Maxwell are putting forward a very clear quid pro quo. They say, if you, President Trump, pardon Ghislaine Maxwell, she will come out publicly and pronounce you innocent and exonerated, to use a word that my Republican colleagues have used. It's a clear deal she's putting on the table. What's really concerning is that President Trump hasn't taken that deal off the table. He could put an end to this right now and just say, look, Ghislaine Maxwell is a monster, a convicted child sex trafficker. There is no way in hell I'm going to pardon her. Why hasn't he done that?
That's a very good question. Congressman James Walkinshaw, it's great to see you. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you all.